Hi everyone, happy 2024 and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Sleep Analysis. If you're new to this channel, welcome in and I hope you make yourself at home. Today's topic is going to be all about team compositions and this video aims to answer the following questions here. Firstly, is a full berry team better than a recipe focus team? Secondly, is it better to have a healer on the team or is it better to just focus on full berry teams? And last but not the least, I will also be talking about other factors which you might want to consider aside from Snorlax's strength. Alright, so before we move into the analysis and the numbers, I thought that it was just really important for me to establish the parameters as well as the assumptions that I have used in order to derive the analysis as well. So in terms of the tool that I have used, it is the Radiant X Team Analysis tool to help me calculate the estimated production output by berry, skill, and ingredients. And in terms of parameters and assumptions, I have made a couple of them. The first one being natures and sub-skills. So I have assumed the following sub-skills and natures for berry specialists and ingredient specialists. And the reason why I have included a neutral nature for berry specialists is just because BFS is such an overpowered skill and I thought that it would be good to neutralize it a little bit by having a mild nature on the ingredient specialist that helps it to increase its ingredient finding rates. The second assumption that I have made is on energy and energy skills. So for the purpose of this analysis, there will be no naps considered, and at the same time, if I have a Pokemon on my team that has charged energy or energy for everyone, the skills will actually proc 3 times a day. My third assumption is that the berry team will always only produce berries through a full player back technique, whereas berry specialists in the recipe teams will produce berries through the usual sneaky snacking technique, which entails having a full Pokemon inventory. If you're still a little bit confused about the two different techniques, here is a great table that actually showcases the differences. So highlighted in red here is the first one that I was talking about, where the player bag is actually full or rather overflowing. And highlighted in green is the usual sneaky snacking technique that people are usually using. And the key difference between these two is the skill proc chances. The reason why I am using this technique for the berry specialist teams is because we are not going to be cooking with them, and by doing so, we will be able to actually clear the inventories and at the same time have a chance for their skill procs. Whereas for the berry specialists in the recipe teams, we will be using the usual sneaky snacking technique as we will always be cooking. Hence, it is likely that our player's back capacity is not going to be filled, and in that case, we don't actually want to click on our Pokemon because we want them to continue only producing berries. I have linked the resource in the description box below. Definitely go and check out Sia if you want to really fully understand it, because Sia has also made other notes under the table which I have not shown in this slide. The fourth parameter will be that the recipe focus teams are built based on the overheat ginger salad recipe, and any remaining team slots will be filled in by favorite berry Pokemon. There are 5 pointers over here, and I think the key assumption that I've made is that the overheat ginger salad will always be made. If there are any missing ingredients, it will be topped out by any ingredient ticket procs or stockpile from the previous week. The pot is also always maxed out, and last but not the least, for cooking, there will be 2 to 3 crates in a week as well. And the last assumption is that there is no area bonus nor good camp tickets being applied to the analysis as well. With the parameters and assumptions out of the way, let's now head straight into the analysis and the numbers. So we will be first comparing a recipe focused team versus a berry team. So for recipe team, I have inputted Gengar, Pupita, and Mr. Mime to supply the ingredients needed for the overheat ginger salad. And for the remaining slots, I have included 2 BFS Raichus to fill up the team. I have segregated out the strength numbers based on berry, cooking, and skill strength. So the berry and skill strength are numbers taken from the Radiant calculator, whereas cooking strength is manually calculated to factor in the pot size limit as well as the extra chances for crits. So with 2 to 3 crits factored into the calculation, we would derive at around 879k to 902k in terms of overall strength. Now, how will this fare compared to a generalist berry team? Let's find out. So comparing the General Release Berry team, we see that the Berry strength is at 494k and skill strength at 39k, which brings us to a total of 533k in a week. So this means that the recipe focused team actually outperforms the General Release Berry team. Now let's take a look at how things changes when Snorlax's favorite berry is aligned with the berry team. I have included two tables over here, the first one including 5 Raichus that has BFS skill, and the second one that reflects a little bit more of a closer reality where some of us might not have a full team of BFS Raichus. In this case, we can actually see that the mid favorite berry team has a similar performance compared to the recipe focused team, while the favorite berry full BFS team outperforms compared to the recipe focused teams. So a quick conclusion would be that the favorite berry BFS team is stronger compared to the recipe focused team. But hold your horses, because Raichu is considered to be one of the best berry specialists in the game right now, and things might change when it comes to a weaker berry Pokemon. So let's compare it with a team of BFS Radicats. The total strength will be around 815k, which means that it is actually lower compared to the recipe focused team. So the second conclusion is that favorite berry BFS teams are stronger than recipe teams, but it is contingent on the Pokemon that you actually use. There is one last thing that I wanted to highlight with regards to berry Pokemon, and that is the scalability of the berries itself. Because we do know for a fact that berries actually scale with levels, and how would things change when the team is of a higher level compared to a recipe team, because recipes have a max cap of level 51 currently. So here's the table that we have done earlier, and we see that in terms of strength differences, it is somewhere between 14 to 17% difference. And now let's take a look at level 50. Right off the bat, we do see that in terms of absolute numbers, there is quite a huge difference, and when I did the math, it has increased even more by 26 to 39%. So in conclusion, the gap between recipe focused team versus a strong favorite berry BFS team widens as the berry strength continues to scale with level. And now, even the Radicats have caught up to the recipe focused teams. So the fourth conclusion is that weak favorite berry teams still have the potential to overtake recipe focused teams as its berry strength continues to scale up. That was quite a lot to take in, wasn't it? I need a pineapple tart as well. Let's continue. Is it worth it to have a healer on the team? Let's find out. Here, I have included two variations of healer teams. One with a BFS healer and the other without BFS skill at all. And we'll be able to see that in overall, favorite berry BFS team will still outperform a team healer. But there is a potential for the healer team to outperform if the healer berry is Snorlax's favorite as well. In my opinion, if the healer has BFS skill, the strength difference is actually not too much compared to a favorite berry BFS team, and the strength difference might be worth the trade-off for the increased flexibility of using a healer across the different islands. Now, let's see how a healer team will fare in comparison to a berry team when the average level reaches 50. We see the BFS healers actually being able to keep up quite well even with the berry scaling. So at level 30, it's a 3.9% difference in terms of strength, and at level 50, it stays around the same or actually even having a slight improvement on that. So in that case, we do see that healer teams do not really drop off as compared to what we witnessed for the recipe teams earlier on. In conclusion, favorite BFS team is currently the best in terms of providing the highest Snorlax strength. But does it mean that you always want to have a favorite BFS team? Well, I think there are other factors that you might want to consider as well, and all these are purely based on my own analysis and opinions, so take it with a pinch of salt and feel free to tweak it accordingly to your playstyle. The first one is flexibility across islands, and I would say that favorite BFS team fares the worst because you essentially need 5 different sets of Pokemon per island. Having a healer on the team makes it slightly easier, but it does not change the fact that you still need 4 other Pokemon for each island. And on the other hand, the General Release Berry team and the Recipe Focus team will fare much better just because they can be used across all the different islands. The next consideration is ease of capturing. The easiest is the Generalist Berry team, right? Because you only just need to catch 5 really good BFS Pokemon and always use them no matter which island you are in. Favorite BFS team is Hut because of the total number of Pokemon that you need to catch, in addition to having BFS as a sub-skill. On the other hand, recipe-focused teams are challenging because there are optimal set of ingredient orders to look out for aside from the nature and sub-skills. If you don't know what I mean, be sure to check out my ultimate cooking guide, and I will leave the link somewhere up here. The next point is on ease of leveling. And again, I've ranked the favorite BFS team as 1 star just because it is really tough. Imagine trying to have a full team of Cyndaquils. You probably don't have that much candy because Cyndaquils are pretty hard to encounter. So imagine having to spread your resources across 5 of them. It's probably going to take a long time. I think the same issue will still persist even if you have a team of Cyndaquils, Marowaks, and Onyxes because they are just generally pretty hard to encounter. Now, you might be wondering, then why is the Generalist Berry team rated at 3 stars compared to the favorite BFS team? It's just purely because of the fact that you are able to always accumulate sleep experience with your Generalist Berry team because you are using the same team every time you go to different islands. Last of all is the recipe focus team, and I've rated it 2.5 stars because if you have planned your ingredient team properly, you wouldn't have too many duplicates of Pokemon and hence your resources wouldn't be spread that thinly. The next one that I wanted to talk about is potential, and I think this is a pretty interesting topic. As you can see over here, I have rated Recipe Focus Team as 2.5 stars, and the reason is because we do know for a fact that the developers are going to be adding in new ingredients, new recipes, and I think there's a huge chance that cooking will become stronger in future. This is pure speculation on my end. I do hope that there will be a buff to the meal crit rates. So if there are higher chances for a meal to crit, it will definitely make the recipe focus team much more stronger than what it is right now. Another change that we know is incoming is that dishes will also help your helper Pokemon team to recover energy. So that may also nerf healer Pokemon in general as well. And last but not the least, I just wanted to throw in fun factor as a component as well. I do think that recipe focused teams are the most fun just because you get to change your teams up every week and you get to cook yummy meals for your Snorlax. I've taken the liberty to name the different playstyles based on the teams, and please let me know in the comments below which playstyle you identify with the most. And if you found this video useful, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!